Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am doing the match preview scout for the Everton Southampton game, and I am joined by Jack of Matchday Blogs. Firstly, Jack, thank you for joining me, mate. It's nice to meet you.
No, it's good to meet you too, bud. And, I've been thinking about this all day. Last night was our filming. I was like, I kind of miss it until Saturday. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got no one to talk to, so I love it when you boys pop up. So that's all good. Ready to talk to football?
Well, my first question for you is, currently Southampton sitting 10th in the table. What do you make of your season so far?
Oh, I'll tell you what, man. Like, 2021 for Southampton was just garbage. Like, start to finish, it was just awful. So seeing us in 10th for the first time since January last year, like that was when it all started to decline. It's like, it really sort of makes it feel like 2021 was just a really awful, disgusting blip for us. It's like everything that could have gone wrong for us that season went wrong, literally, for last year. So sitting here now, after a really good, last week against Spurs and United, and it's just a form that seems to have kicked on. We've only lost one home game this season. And the more we sort of think about it, the more it's like, okay, well, this is actually one of our best seasons in a long time. Really, probably since Coman, this is one of our better looking seasons, especially the way we're playing. Like Puel, okay, we might have finished the season a little bit higher with Puel. Oh, it was awful to watch. So bad. But Southampton are just quite an exciting team to watch now. It's quite nice standing outside Spurs Stadium and people saying, cool, Southampton come at you. You're like, what? Oh, yeah, we do, don't we? Yeah, we do. So yeah, man, I'm loving it. Loving life right now.
That's good to hear. Who do you think's been your best player and most disappointing player so far this season?
I don't know what the best player is hard. But you know what the best player really is? Kyle Walker-Peters. At the beginning of the season, when we got Livramento come in and Livramento be so amazing straight off the bat, like none of us would have known this 18, 19-year-old from Chelsea was going to be that good. And then playing right back, we thought, okay, well, that means Kyle Walker-Peters has got to play on his wrong foot on the wrong side, and we've just bought this new left back. What's he going to be like? And for a while, it was, we were getting used to Kyle Walker-Peters playing on the right, and then suddenly it just started working on the left. And he was playing so good on the left that we were like, oh, well, this is fine. Then he's going to play on the left, and then Livramento went out, so we had to go back on the right. We thought, oh, what's this new left back going to be like? He's wicked. And Kyle Walker-Peters is just as good on the right, so he's just playing everywhere. Like we can start a game with 3 different right fullbacks, and we'd be absolutely happy with any of them. But Kyle Walker-Peters is the one that plays everywhere, and as a team that presses like we do, and on the front foot, he's just everything that you want. It kind of makes Spurs look really stupid. In fact, they took Højbjerg. Walker-Peters for me, and disappointing. They're all playing well. Alex McCarthy. He was. Thank God. I hated him when he was playing. Then he got injured, and now he's never getting back in the squad. So it's fine. It's fine. I've gone on long rants about McCarthy, and he's one of the players I've picked on a lot. And he is the victim of the Man United game from last year, where we conceded a lot of goals, the number of which I can't quite remember. But Angus Gunn didn't recover from it against Leicester, and McCarthy never really did. And I think once that happens to you, it's kind of hard to come back from it. And there were just he's just a bad shot stopper, And I get in this league, everybody wants a goalkeeper that can stop shots and play with his feet, and maybe even playing with their feet is somewhat outgrowing that now. But for me, when you're a team that concedes a lot, you kind of want a shot stopper more than you want someone who can play the ball.
Well, I was going to say it's the first job you'd hope you'd be good at, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's when you hear like United fans complain about De Gea, it's like, well, no, he's keeping you in it a lot. Okay, he can't pass the ball too well, but that's the rest of your team can't pass that ball very well either. So it doesn't make any sense to blame him. So yeah, for me, mate, Southampton when they're at their peak when I was a kid was when Anthony Niemi was in goal, and Anthony Niemi was an absolute fiend. He was 4'1" and he stopped shots like that were going outside the ground. It made no sense. So for me, when your team's playing well, it always starts from the back and with a goalkeeper that's just legit and just can stop shots. And Fraser Forster's doing that, and McCarthy didn't do that. So yeah, McCarthy, he's been the biggest disappointment.
Fair enough. What are your thoughts on Ralph Hasenhüttl and his time at Southampton? I know we just spoke briefly about it before we started filming.
I love Ralph. Like my love of Ralph has never waned, and even when it, in the summer when we lost those players, he started wearing waistcoats, and I was like, actually, I don't care. Look how good he's great on that touchline. But he's come in, he's worked this system. He has done he's done absolute miracles with this squad. Mike did this, who I did the match day vlogs with. He worked this out the other day that for every point Ralph has given Southampton, it's earned them 182 grand in profit. Whereas if you were to look at City or Liverpool, it's usually in the minus 300 grand. So Ralph has done this incredible job with Southampton, keeping us in profit, keeping us up in the league, bringing in this style of play, which it's relentless and it is brutal, and it's not for every player. When he took over the squad, you can't play this style with Charlie Austin. And if you were a fan of Charlie Austin and what he did how he played for Southampton, you were going to really hate what Ralph was going to do to the players for a little while. But I think even the most skeptical Ralph fan right now is fully behind him, to a point where, a couple of weeks ago, beginning of the season when, after 3 games and everyone's running scared, that's completely just out the window, to a point where, when he's made these comments recently about what he's going to do at the end of his contract, that it's caused such a heat up in the club. They're like, whoa, no, you're not leaving. Shut up. No, you're not. We just got new owners. You'll stay and put, mate. So it's all love for Ralph right now. And I'm just, it's just, like I said to you just before the show, he's coming on to be our longest serving Premier League manager. And I don't really remember another time in my life watching Southampton where we have a manager who's doing really well and he's not going to be poached. Like with Pochettino, you knew it was going to come. Coman, you knew it was going to come. Like, we didn't know it was going to be Everton. I'll be honest, really didn't expect it to be you guys. That was kind of like Danny Ings going to Aston Villa. I was like, hold on, wait, what? Hold on. That's not quite what I thought was going to happen. But, didn't work out for you either, did it? Like, he was a beneficiary of how good Poch set that team up. And he's tricked everybody else ever since.
I was going to say, in hindsight, we should have really let you keep him.
Yeah, honestly, I think everyone's realising that now. You, the Netherlands, Barca, they're all like, oh no, actually, that was just a really good Pochettino side, and we're all still remembering that.
I wouldn't mind, but I've seen his run of form. There's an old run of form that goes around every now and then just to show that Everton's hired him off the back of it. And his run of form for you was so much in the red. The best results were draws against teams you should be, they're about you're fair, so you should be trying to at least beat them. And I was just like, how have we hired him off the form table like that? He's not a popular man.
No, he's not. But when he was at Southampton, I always thought he just kind of like a jolly guy. But then it all changed. but it must have been like for you when Moyes was in. It's like when you have someone here for that long, it's either it's like, all right, I'm expecting him to go somewhere, but where? I don't know. There's not really anything right now. And it's just nice to be somewhat at peace with the club and just knowing it's ticking on. And I think that's why a few fans are starting to find bridges to burn or things to be scared about or loan deals not going through or something crazy. Because in reality, we're sitting 10th. We're playing good football. We're getting good results off of good teams. It's to take double points off of City this season. That's no small feat. Not to lose to United. That's getting easier and easier every season, but it's still quite good. All the points from Spurs. It just feels good right now. There's still holes in the team, of course, because we're still Southampton. That's why this match I'm real worried about.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd seen this. I saw it the other day while we were on about Ralph Hasenhüttl, and this is a brilliant time to ask a Southampton fan it. Apparently, you make players go down between, I think it's the 60th and the 70th minute. And apparently, they believe that it's a way for Hasenhüttl basically to sort of let the lads drink their Lucozade, come over, do a little tactical brief, which, by the way, he's not the only manager that does it. We saw it a lot with the water breaks when they were introduced. People were taking advantage of them. But I just wondered, is there much to it, or was it just somebody on Twitter? I think it was just chatting rubbish.
I don't know what. It's Southampton, when Ralph was, like we were saying, when Ralph first came in and was introducing the style, it was so flat out and players were being ground into the ground. Like it was really, and we were dropping off. Look, our dropping points from a leading position is a ridiculous stat of like it's so many points dropped, and that's because towards the end of the game we were dead. So when we see them taking those breaks, that is definitely what they're doing. They are definitely slowing it down, catching their breath. We've started taking long throws now. They're not like when we had Rory Delap, that made sense. But Salisu and Jack Stevens and Bednarak, they don't really have great long throws. They're just about make the box, but we know that Romeo will drop back. It will give them time to rest. Salasu's got to come all the way from the back to the throw-in to take it. So you got that time, the boys to get into position, everyone can take a break. And it does make sense. They're not the best long throws, but you can see them all catching their breath and making the changes. And the fact that Ralph's making really quick in-game changes now, and there are a lot of system changes. There was a long time where we were just playing the 4-2-2-2, and that gets caught out. Once the team's unpicked it in the game, it's over. So now you see us switch to a 3 at the back, or you see us, switching wider than they usually are, and that does come from these little breaks as well. Like you do see them, like in those last 20 minutes, the game plan completely change on its head, and it's fun to watch. Like you really do see it happen in the moment. So when I saw, I think I saw an Athletic article saying it talking about it as well. It's like, yeah, you notice it in the stadium, even for like in a couple of games, you notice it for the fans as well. It's like, right, take a break here. Right, let's see this game out. Like we're stressed out, so everyone just breathe for a second. So if I'm doing it, they got to be doing it.
Yeah, I mean, when I read it, I thought, you know what, I respect it quite a bit. You're using, you're not breaking any of the rules. You're using it as, you could be saying you're bending up, but you're entitled to use them like that. And like you said, the way you play football, it's a lot of high energy. Eventually, the players will start towards the end to feel a bit tired, a bit legless. But I think it's really clever by him.
It's kind of like the placid version of like crowding the ref. Like, we want this free kick. That's one way to try and get it. But we're like, no, yeah, I'm just gonna have a sit down for a minute. I'm a little bit cramped up. Everyone take a minute. Like, it's bending the rules a little bit, but it's a lot nicer than the other way. You'd rather us do that than us falling over.
Exactly. I'd much rather that than that. So. Moving on to Everton, what have you made of our season so far, including the whole Rafa Benitez madness, and now obviously Frank Lampard?
Wow, I was after the Newcastle game, I was like, this is a good time to play in Everton. It's looking a bit ropey. If Newcastle can do this, it's going to be fine. And then you come out against Leeds, and in the space of a week, you seem to have a whole new game plan. It's a whole new style of play. You're pressing a lot quicker. It's a lot more energy. This energy's come out of nowhere. And the passing was night and day between the Newcastle game and the Leeds match. It was crazy. I think was it the first goal when it was just that nice just pass and move into the box, I think, and then it was just good stuff. Just nice football. And I was like, crap. Yeah, all right, okay, that's annoying. But with Lampard, Saints had a good record against his Chelsea team and then a bad record against his Derby team. So he's a funny one. But prior to that, it was awful, wasn't
it? Yeah.
I don't understand it either, because it's like, I do, but I don't. It's like, I was one of those people that was like, why are they complaining about Rafa? All right, he was over there, but he's still an all right manager. I'd be happy to get Rafa. I'm a Southampton fan. Of course I'd be happy to get Rafa. And then it all unfolded. I was like, maybe I don't want Rafa. Maybe he is okay at Newcastle. Maybe that is the level. Okay, fair play. You just see managers of his ilk. Ranieri's the same, where they're not setting the teams up to come out the gates and win, and take control of the game. And the league's not like that anymore. Like, you have to do that every game. It's relentless. The fact that you're that close to that, like, you're sort of where we should be, really. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't be down there with the squad you got and everything. You just shouldn't be there. And I just think how do you feel about those transfers? How do you feel about Donny and Dele?
A little bit hesitant on Dele Alli, just because the last time he had like a breakout season, he was 20, which is like nearing on 5 years ago when he had that great season. Van der Beek, really like him. From what I'm seeing so far as well in the 2 games they've played, Dele Alli looks a little bit off the pace for me, but I think there's probably still a player deep down there. It's just getting the best out of him. Van der Beek looks like a natural so far from what I've seen, just fits right in with what we needed. I can't believe United didn't give him much more.
It's crazy. I agree, but the Leeds game, I was just watching some of his movements and the way he's passing the ball, and he seemed just like to almost run the midfield of a midfield that he's been in for 10 minutes. Like it's like he was just the boy in the middle. It's like really those guys over there who can't pass a ball, can't work in midfield. They found he had no need for this guy. Oh, all right, fair play, whatever you want, your game. But Dele's a funny one because there was rumours that he might have been coming to Southampton. We heard that was quite a few. We heard that quite a lot to a point where I got a bit hooked into it. I already thought it was going to happen. I mouthed off a little bit, but it's fine. I'm allowed to look stupid. But I just thought, a team with a decent manager like Ralph, and like he's got Kyle Walker-Peters here. They spent they were on holiday with each other in the summer. It really would have been a good environment for him. As soon as Frank came into Everton, I thought, that's also a good manager for Dele Alli because it's perfect. He's the guy that's going to get. If there's any manager that can pull a bit of form out of Dele Alli, it's going to be Harry Redknapp too, isn't it?
Yeah. The fact this Frank Lampard as well, in my opinion, the best English centre mid of my lifetime. It's just mental. And the style of play was, box to box midfielder. I think scored over 10 goals every season, didn't he, for Chelsea? If he can get anywhere, if he's
even at Man City, he did it. He did it at Man City when he was 104 years old.
So if like Dele Alli's even like 25% of the player Frank Lampard was, then I think we'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, how could you not be? How could you not be?
Exactly.
You're right with him not wearing a suit on the pitch and everything.
I'm not fussed what he wears or what he drives. As long as he plays football.
As long as he plays, really don't care. When Southampton signed Mario Gabbiadini, right, his photo shoot was him outside Staplewood with his Lamborghini. And it was this kind of the same thing. But I thought, nah, mate, you've just bought an Italian striker. Of course he's going to pull up in his Lamborghini. That's exactly what you want. You sign a player from London and he pulls up in his nice whip. That's exactly what you want, of course.
Shut up, most of the fans are just not fussed. I mean, there was some asking for him to cut his red dreadlock out of his hair, which he's now done. But
I get that. I get that. If you were joining Southampton, I'd want you to cut all blue out your diet. To be fair, no Powerade, no Yorkies. Don't want none of that.
That's what I mean. So we're not, as a fan, but I don't think anyone's fussed about what he wears. I can't believe the media got about a week's story out of it. To be completely honest, no, it's mad.
Yeah, it's great.
So what are your thoughts going into the game on Saturday? Are you feeling confident for it?
I am that we're playing at home. That's where, for me, it's crazy. When I was looking at the stats earlier, it does seem to be whoever's at home seems to get the points. Just looking back at it, it's pretty not dead down the middle, but it's pretty split. And just the way it has been for Southampton, the fact that we have been so hard to beat at home. But I did say on our show last night that if you're like, it's either you won't score or you won't score just one goal. It's going to be, do you know what I mean? It's either we'll shut you out or you're going to score a couple and it's going to be difficult, lemon difficult. So it's, like I said, a few weeks ago, way more happy about it. But after the Leeds game, I'm a lot more worried about it. But at the same time, Southampton have been so well drilled, and I think that's more the Southampton in me, that I know that we've just had a good week of results. Next week it's Everton and Norwich. Guess what's going to happen? It seems like if you're going to get points, you would have thought it'd be this one. If we get this, it'll be quite a run for Southampton, and that's the only thing that really holds me back from being full gun ho. Like, yeah, of course we're going to get the points. So I'm just like, God's sake, it's going to come, and this is probably going to be it. Southampton have been done on the overlap the last few games so many times. Like Harry Winks should have scored way more against us at Spurs. The United goal was the same thing, cutting through, and I can just see that ball coming over to Calvert-Lewis in the middle. Even Keane scored at the weekend. Coleman scored. Those balls into the box, the delivery is so good. But I don't think you'll get us on set pieces. But I think just attacking those wings, I think you might get something out of it. So goals, I'm saying goals.
No problem. I hope so. I think that'll be an entertaining game all round if we get a couple of goals. It's funny you mentioned set pieces. Obviously, we really want set pieces against you lot, because one, James Ward-Prowse, any free kick is like a penalty for him nowadays.
Yeah.
And our corner, it's a little bit better now, but as a whole this season, our defending of corners has been diabolical. It's like watching, high school football. There's just no coordination. Nobody seems to know who they're marking. So I'm quite hoping we stay away from set pieces against Southampton, just because I think you're going to be that little bit better.
Yeah, it's like set pieces have really become like that. We're seeing so many more variations. We're seeing those short corners and short free kicks, and just changing the system so it's not the same old. So we are becoming more and more deadly with them. And you're right. Those Ward-Prowse free kicks, even that one against Wolves, right? It was so far out, and we all watched it. And when it went in, we were like, "Oh yeah." Ah! Like it didn't make any sense to anyone. So even now, I'm like, if he gets that free kick, it's like it's going in. Just the same way as did you see the United offside against us on the weekend when the entire United team were offside from a free kick? It was incredible. We really just held a line and played them off. It's like that we do that so much. We're so good at holding that line in those free kick in those situations that when that goes in now, I'm not even worried. It sounds so ridiculous, but I'm like, that's offside. And I will sit back and I will be furious when they give the goal. I will be so calm until they give it. And I'm like, nah, that's impossible. And I will refute it until I get home and realise I am wrong. But yeah, it's just nice that, like I say, it's that consistency thing. It's for a team that was last season so inconsistent and the last few years so all over the place. Now we're just hitting this nice form of, oh, we're good from corners, so something might go in, rather than, oh my God, we haven't scored from a corner in ages. Like, when's this going to happen? Or, our strikers haven't scored in a month. So, we went on so many not scoring goal streaks. Like, we broke so many records, like, over the past, 4 years of, the longest without win, longest without scoring, longest without a home win. It's just, to now be, undefeated, only lost one at home this season. You got Prowse is on 6-7 goals. And we've got Brozier, who's just ridiculous. Who's, again, another one like Livramento. He's come out of nowhere, and we've just got this absolute beast up front. It's great.
Yeah, he looks a really good player. Obviously, you've mentioned him and Ward-Prowse. Give us your likely lineup that you think you'll set up with, and give us any injury news if you've got any injuries that we might be looking at.
That Southampton, we've got one injury right now, and that's Nathan Teller, but he probably wouldn't have started anyway. I think that is kind of another thing that hits to our form. This time last season was about the time we played United in that game, and we started that game with 8 academy players on the bench and 3 goalkeepers. So that tells you where we were last season, and now we're here with no injuries. Everyone's looking good. I probably think it'll be the same as last week. I think it's going to be Forster in goal because he's been immense. It'll be Kyle Walker-Peters and Roman Peru, Selesu and Bednarak at the back. Although Bednarak went off the pitch with a groin injury, but apparently he's been in training all week, so we'd probably start. Be Ward-Prowse and Romeo in the middle, Moye Elianusi and Stuart Armstrong on the wings, and then Brozier and Shea Adams up top. Yeah, pretty much unchanged from the last few games. Again, those wingers they've really hit a stride. Elianusi has come back from Celtic this season. 2 years on loan at Celtic, same as Fraser Forster. 2 years on loan to Celtic, and they've just come back and just found their form. And then Armstrong was out a lot this season, came back, it's been looking okay, getting into form, and then he scored that goal against Coventry, and ever since then he's just pinging shots for fun. He's just something's going to go in, why not? So yeah, that'll be our squad. Who scares you? Come on, who scares you in that squad? All of them?
Ward-Prowse scares me. Borgia scares me just because he's on a bit of form. Even Shea Adams on a bit of form. I think they're the 3 that worry me most goals-wise. I really like Selesu at the back, though. I think he's a really good defender. So I think he's going to be a tough battle for probably Calvert-Lewin for us. I think that's going to be a really tough battle.
Yeah, you're going to have to delete this when he wins Liverpool the next Champions League. That's gonna be an issue.
Don't be saying that to us. Don't be saying that to us, gosh. I think at that point I'm just gonna give up with football and find a different sport. So it's bad enough watching them win the league and the Champions League the last couple of years, but to watch them do it again is gonna be tough.
Nah, mate, you just got to bite your tongue. It's fine. Well, I say that when our biggest rivals are 2 leagues down and just eating dirt all the time. Can't train right now because their training pitches get too flooded. Sucks to be them, man. Sucks to be them.
Obviously, we've mentioned, I've mentioned the players that I'm a bit worried about. Who, if you could have one Everton player in your team, who would you have and why?
First of all, I think everybody would want Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's just such a powerful striker. For me, Southampton, these are going to be 2 players that you don't want to hear him compared to, but he will. Is Ricky Lambert and Graziano Pella, where they're just big dudes up front who get in the right space. They can absolutely hit a ball they need to. They're just goal scorers. They're just goal machines, and they're big and they're powerful, and no one messes them about. And I love that. And Brozier is somewhat becoming that for us. That's why we're so excited by him. But yeah, I would love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But it's I think it's that there's a little bit of my heart that I do like Pickford, man. I do like him. That I think it's because I've got that England thing at heart where I just love him on a big game. He is the best big game goalkeeper. That is he is. He's so on that day when you need him, he's great. But it's just week to week, isn't it? It's just that free kick against Newcastle shouldn't have gone in. How's he stop that?
Yeah, I think the Newcastle sort of just they hate him. They hate him, and I think a little bit of that just seeps into his head. It's not the first game I've seen against Newcastle where it just looks like the crowd might just be getting in his head a little bit, and they were very vocal every time he had a goal kick. It was boo straight away, drowning out everything. So,
who's playing on the? There's a young lad that was playing on the left hand side for you against Leeds. I thought was wicked as well. Who was that?
John Joe Kenny.
Yeah.
He was at Celtic last year as well. While we're on about former Celtic players.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw him. I was like, yeah. Do you know what? I got time for that.
Well, interestingly enough, he went to Schalke, then went to Celtic, and a lot of fans. He's got a lot to prove to a lot of fans, and he's right-footed. But and we've seen him at right back a couple of times, and he's not been. No one would say he's the replacement of Seamus Coleman, but at left back against Leeds, I was like, wow.
He was making shapes. I was like, who's this? Why is this his first game? What's going on? Who am I seeing here? It was definitely one of those little moments. There's something I think because the pass and play for you guys was so good in that game anyway. Anytime he was somewhat involved in it, I just seemed to notice that it was like, oh, he's there again, doing it again. Good
it was Cruyff turning at one point. It was really good to watch.
Don't you love that? Don't you love that when someone like one of those sort of players comes out of nowhere? Like for me, it was Maya Yoshida. When Maya Yoshida cut back passes out, and then every so often just did a little Cruyff turn or the little volley. I'm just like, this guy right here. Yes, man. Sold. Signed, sealed, delivered. Get him on the back of my shirt straight away that season. As soon as he did one Cruyff turn, he went on my shirt.
I didn't know he had it in his locker, to be fair, but it was
exactly.
It was great. It was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Southampton, there are some familiar faces for us Everton fans. There is Theo Walcott, and there is Thierry Small as well, who was highly rated when he was with us. Obviously, he left. I think it was to pursue more game time, which I'm going to say he's probably not getting. How are they getting on, both of them?
So, Walcott is we looked leggier when he came on against Spurs. Like he is, for me, it's gone. It was a lovely sentimental thing to have him back at the club, and he had that lovely little bit of form at the end of last season to see him score. And I think he's great for the young lads because he is the poster boy of Southampton. Bale is, but he's also one of them as well. He's one of those faces. He's on the tunnel when you come in. When you cross over the St. Mary. So, he is really looked upon. So we do love him. But he's just, he seems to have, he sorted out his first touch. It's now his second touch. That's a real problem. I don't know what, it's crazy. Last time he started against Coventry, he would get the ball, nice first touch, turn to play it, and he would just lose the ball on that, just to look around. It was like, oh, for God's sake, man, he's just jogging. So it's nice to have Theo there, but it's he's a man, he's a body on the bench. Do you know what I mean? Thierry Small. So when he left you, we sort of thought it was sort of a bit of an argy-bargy falling out. He wanted, like, that was our first report that he wanted a bit more money from you, or more playing time, or just something crazy. And then he's come over to us, and it's we've not seen any of that, and to lead us to believe, oh, maybe that was a little bit overblown by some reports that we were reading. But he's doing really, really well. He made his first start against Coventry. Was it against Coventry, or was it? Yeah, it was against Coventry. And they just overloaded him. It was way too much for him. He came off at half time. He was really good on the attack, but defense, they were just overloading him. But Southampton this season have changed from having an under-21s to having a reserve team. So we have a B team that play against, really competitive matches, and they're relentless every single week. So he's getting a lot of game time. I saw him play a couple of times. I saw him play pre-season, and I saw him play a game that got abandoned halfway through due to fog a couple of months ago. But he looked wicked then, and again on the attack looked really good. But I don't know how much you guys knew about him when he was on before he left. But he's definitely looking like one for the future.
He was highly rated. He was one we were. There was him and Nkunku, and we always assumed that like Nkunku's probably going to start before him because he's just that little bit more ready. But that Thierry Small was the one with the bigger potential. And I think what it came down to is the fact he was watching Nkunku get a little bit of game time before him, and he was like, "I want games," sort of thing. We heard the same rumours where he wanted more playing time, and sort of was like, "Right, well, I'm off because I want more playing time." So yeah, it's a tough one because from what I've heard and what we saw, he looks like a really, really potentially a really good left back. And it's a position we actually need more players in, ironically, this season.
The crazy thing is when he signed, we were like, oh my God, we need another left back. So when he first initially signed and like you read the headline, Southampton's bought a left back, you're like, oh, thank God, because we need one. And you say, oh, he's a young lad, he'll be coming through, probably won't come through straight away. And obviously, like I said, everything with Kyle Walker-Peters has come through that we've got all this great field of left backs, of fullbacks. But it does feel like he will be coming into this squad sooner than later. I don't know. I think the way that we play, like I say, it's nice to have rest players, but also the team has gotten so much better since there's been competitiveness for the spots. Ryan Bertrand lived on his laurels for about 3 seasons, and because it was Ryan Bertrand, we just thought this is fine. And as soon as he goes to Leicester, you're like, oh my God, it's not fine at all. Oh my God, no, it's not. And we now got a left back who does, a left back that's already competing against a right back for his role. So, everyone's just playing to their full potential right now because of that sort of thing. And you see it, like, when Thierry was on the pitch for that game, he was running the entire time. He was putting in the effort. Just unfortunately for him, Coventry just came to play that day. It was one of those games where I think Ralph saw a lower league side, changed it about. He started Shane Long and Theo Walcott. That's just crazy. Like, that's the age of the entire rest of the squad. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, it's just another exciting player to come through. But if you think you're upset, imagine how upset Chelsea fans must be. Livramento, we got Simiyu coming through. It sounds like they say they're going to keep Brozier, but let's be honest. If all Brozier has to do is look at Tammy Abraham and be like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't try and get into this Chelsea squad. But buyback clauses are a thing now, so that makes it more manageable for us. But yeah, it's just getting these young players from nowhere. It's been really fun, and now it makes me have to watch reserve teams play. I've now had to keep an eye on your reserve team. That's so crazy.
Well, I mean, you might be even more in luck because I believe there's a rule coming in to change how many players you can have out on loan, supposedly. Yeah. So Chelsea will have to look to sort of cut that squad quite a bit because at one point, I think it was like 2 seasons ago, they had it was an obscene amount. It was like 3 starting 11s out on loan, and it was like...
I remember seeing that. I remember my old manager used to be a Chelsea fan, and we were looking at a program that he brought in, and it was just stacked. And it was like a pre-season before anybody had really gone. I was like, what is that? And then we looked and they were all gone. They were just nowhere to be seen, just playing all over the place. Players that you forgot. I think Michael Essien still playing for them, to be honest. I have no idea. Like, I don't have a clue what's going. Like, if you were to tell me Zola is registered, ready to go at any point, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course he is.
I was going to say, like, Lucas Piazon was another one. That Kennedy, the one that ended up at Newcastle, he was on their books for a while.
Yeah, but even now you see you see spread out the league now. You see Gilmore places, Connor Gallagher. You see them everywhere. You're like, you've got all this class. Like it almost more infuriating that they didn't stick with Lampard, because Chelsea probably could have been this insane. They're almost like, if you imagine if you had all of those players and Brozier and Livermore all coming through into this one squad, not to call back, but in that class of '92 sort of thing, they all came through at the same time. It could have been something incredible. But instead, money. Lukaku for 100 mil. Shut up.
It's honestly madness, mate. What do you think your predicted finish in the table will be for you, Southampton, and where do you think we will end up?
Well, here's the thing. Beginning of the season, if you had asked me where we would be right now, I would have thought we would be in your spot and you would be in our spot. So that's quite a nice thing. I think it will level out once we get towards the end. But for me, if we finish 10th, I'll be amazed. We finished 11th last season, 1 month. But given where we are, feeling a bit cocky after last week, 9th for me. I would love to finish inside that top 10. It'd be just huge after the past few years, past few seasons, to finish again in the top 10. Oh, it'd be great. It'd be a real neck of relief. But then it's just, do I put you 10th or do I put you 8th? I put you 10th. Put one behind us just because. Because you need to learn not to do that again. No new stadium, so you get a good manager and you do play football.
I think most fans will be absolutely ecstatic with 10th. I said at the start of the season, I think 10th or 12th would be a good result. This was when Rafa was there, and and that was me with a bit of a negative mindset because I wasn't happy. But I was like, 10th or 12th, realistically, regardless of who it was, would be a good result. So if we can finish 10th now, I think most of our fans would bite your arm off for that.
I think you sacked Rafa at just about the right time. If Frank had come in maybe like last week or maybe this week, maybe a bit too far gone. Especially like I said, Richarlison is not the player that you want to have in a relegation scrap. Competing against those teams that are well up for a relegation scrap because they're there all the time. Like
Burnley.
Do you know what I mean? Like if Everton, Burnley, Everton, Watford becomes a lot harder game for you when that's on the line. And especially if you're down there, that'd be a hard game for any team anyway, because they're trying to survive, and those games are always a little bit harder towards the end of the season. But if you're down there struggling with them, I can tell you, as a Saints fan, you think you're not going to slip, and you just start slipping, and it becomes ridiculous. Like that game, the season where Mark Hughes saved us. Crazy sentence. That game against Swansea, like if you would have asked me beginning of the season, like I would never have thought Swansea would be a stressful game, but I've never been more stressed out in my life watching a game. Like it's insane. Like what can happen to your team and what can happen to morale once you get down there. You can either go with it and get through it, or you'll see players that not have that mentality. And I did start to worry for you a little bit, like just a little bit, just because of just the sort of players you have in should be aiming for those spots that you should be acquiring for, with the money you're spending and the managers you were getting in and stuff like that. When you thought you would be with Ancelotti and stuff like that, you should be somewhere else. And then instead, an insane few things have happened, and now you're here.
Yeah, and the whole since Ancelotti left to now has just been an absolute whirlwind. It's you couldn't write it. I've asked for your predicted table. Now I'm going to ask for your score predictions for the weekend.
Or I said that there's going to be goals, and for me, my rule is I never go for a draw, because what's the point? And also, I never go for a loss, because how dare you do that against your team? So, that being said, I'm going to go for a big old 3-2 to Southampton. I just think there's goals in it. I think we've conceded a goal in our past 9 games. We've not been keeping clean sheets, but we've been scoring. And Everton was the same. Tottenham was the same. United, we should have been putting more in, but we were still letting stuff through. And like I say, I think the way that you were scoring goals against Leeds, that's how we've been conceding. Those sort of balls over the top, and I just think Calvin Lewis is he's a bit of an enemy against us. I think Jimenez, there's certain players in the league where I'm like, they're going to score against us. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just they're primed for it. Southampton are the team was when that's why I was amazed Harry Kane didn't do anything against us, because usually that's the game where he turns up. And like I just feel like Calvert-Lewin is going to get some goals. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go for 3-2.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, I personally, I am gonna go for a draw. It's what I go for whenever I can't quite say a defeat, but I think it's going to be a really tough game. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Which with the form you're in, I'd take a 2-2 draw very happily.
No lie, so would we.
Yeah, it would be. I just hope it's entertaining, which I think it will be. I think the way we've been playing, the way you've been playing, I think it should be a very entertaining game regardless.
Yeah, right now, especially after your last couple of games, like you look at the Leeds and the Newcastle results, you're like, right, they can do stuff and they can be attacking, they're forward facing, so that's going to be a really good game. But also there is that possibility it can just be a shambles at the back. So, and it can go anyway, and it's one of those more exciting games of the season. But I know that how the stress factors are going to be up going into that game. It's not going to be like when I went in for Brentford. I was like, this should be fine. This is going to be when I was like, we've only lost once at home, and now every time we keep going in. I'm like, is this the game? Nah, this the game? Nah, this one. This is an hard one. This is a hard one.
Yeah, it's going to be. We'll have to wait and see, but hopefully we can win without sounding too harsh. Hopefully we'll get the win. My final question is completely unrelated to football. We like to end it on a bit of a fun one. What is your go-to meal deal? So I want your main, your snack, and your drink. It can be from whichever shop sells meal deals.
Do you know what, man? Like it's big softy summer. There's a bakery across the road from the shop that I work in. And man, oh man, let me tell you about the egg and cress sandwich they do in there. Right? It's insane. And this is going to be the most like middle class meal deal you've ever heard in your life, right? So they do this egg and cress sandwich, banging. Comes with a what's it called? What's the Tory Fanta? A Pellegrino, San Pellegrino. Comes with a San Pellegrino, and it comes with like a small bag of like kettle chips, and it's the bomb, man. It's great. It's the most like Tory middle class meal deal you've ever seen in your life. But it's a good sandwich, and I don't care. On fresh bakery bed. Yeah, I'm a fat man. I like good sandwiches.
It sounds even worse than it's the fact that it's like clearly like an independent bakery. It's not like
it is.
Tesco or
yeah, man.
Independent.
Support your local, bro. Support your local. Gotta do it.
That is unreal.
Independence out of here, man. Reeves and Salisbury, great. Come to Salisbury, guys. Let me tell you where the good bakeries are. You can trust a big man. So yeah, I'll go for the local boys.
That is brilliant.
For a minute, man. Yeah.
That is all of my questions, mate. I just want to say thank you very much for coming on and talking to me. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been great coming on here, man. It's always good talking football and talking like the best meal deal you'll ever have. I promise you. No problem. Don't forget, guys, to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your score predictions. You can go check Jack and Matchday vlogs out as well. The link will be in the description down below.